Michael Carnevale is Grant Manager and Financial Advisor. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, 400 Southbridge Street in Auburn, Massachusetts, 1-800-657-9126. A member of FINRA SIPC and are not deposits, not insured by FDIC or any governmental agency, not guaranteed by Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank, and subject to risk, may lose value. Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank is not affiliated with Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated. The information contained in this report does not purport to be a complete description of the securities markets or developments referred to in the material. The information has been obtained from sources considered to be reliable, but we do not guarantee that the foregoing material is accurate or complete. Any information is not a complete summary or statement of all available data necessary for making an investment decision and does not constitute a recommendation. Any opinions are those of Michael Carnevale and not necessarily those of RJFS or Raymond James. Expressions of opinion are as of this date and are subject to change without notice.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Long Hill Report, Conversations with. I'm your host, Richard Morco. Our specialist here, Mike Carnevale, is here to tell us where the economy is going. You are, aren't you?
Okay.
All right. Well, this is the October edition. We're a little late in the month, but better late than never, or not. Mike informs us that October ranks in the middle for stock performance. Well, this year, how was it?
Pretty good. You know, a lot of interesting things happened in October throughout history. You had the good times, which was back in 1974, when the market was up 16%, and that was actually the bottom of the very bad 1973-74 market, when we, really went down. We also had, remember, the crash in 1987.
Oh, I remember that. That went way down.
Market had its worst day in history during that month. But the last 2 years also have been down. However, we're in a period where we begin the fourth quarter, and that's the best quarter of the year. And lo and behold, October 2025 started off pretty good. Dow went up over 1,100 points, 2.5%, ended at 47,500. There were 7 all-time closing highs during the month, which is pretty good when you think there are only about 20 trading days in a month. So it seemed like every other day we were celebrating an all-time high.
Can you take a little different, if you're always having highs, and are we still getting highs?
Well,
and now that we're in
we briefly got over 48,000 earlier in the month of November, but that's been
you know how I always beat you up over that.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just let the good times roll this month, folks.
Correct. Year to date, the market Dow was up 12%, but the other indexes are up a lot more. So it's been a good year so far.
Not on the Bitcoin front.
Correct.
Boy, has that dived.
That has, got up to 126,000 at the high, and then it went below 80, and I think it's in the high 80s now, but it has taken a tumble, as has some of those other currencies.
The other ones, though, it's like, what's his name? I'm not going to mention his name.
Right.
Has his own
Correct.
crypto. I think everybody's trying to get in on that, but I think the Bitcoin, just by saying we're only going to have this much, no
Correct.
more ever, that has a chance. But then again, it's just dots and dashes. So I'm always amazed that it exists.
Yeah, well, Bitcoin is, the cryptocurrency. I look at it as the same as I look at Kleenex for facial tissues, right? You always say, I need a Kleenex. Well, that's a name brand. Most people don't buy Kleenex, they buy some other brand.
Well, you can get away with this, but I mean, is the analogy, Kleenex, it's the top brand. All the other stuff dissolves
Correct.
on you. Okay, the Ripple and things like that.
Correct.
Okay. Well, we're not. This is not a store. A half hour where we discuss crypto world.
Right.
So I just thought, wow, that was a up and down. So
Yeah.
let's go up and down to some other things.
Okay, well, we finished the sell in May, go away, come back on Halloween Day. Historically, that's the weakest 6 months of the year. Return has been averaging about 2%. This year it did 7%. So we had a pretty good, excuse me, we did, the other November to May does 7%. But this sell in May period, Dow gained almost 7,000 points, or 17%. So it was a really strong 6-month period. And that's why you can't put, in all these indicators that we use, these technical indicators or these oddities, you can't put a sole faith in them because sometimes, they're wrong.
And you know, you only get, you say it's your weakest or your strongest 6-month period. We only get 2 6-month periods
Correct.
in a year. What
Correct.
the heck are you going to do?
Well, there could be other 6-month periods, but, right?
In the same year?
In the same year, sure.
Well, okay.
You could do-
well, you say, okay, February to
Right.
6 months, March.
But this
Yeah,
divides
that's
it kind of
that's
evenly.
That's playing fast and loose.
Right. But historically, it's the weakest period,
Though. Okay.
and not this year.
No. Okay. And any predictions for next year? No, we're not going to get it.
We're too early.
We're too early, even though we want to get the worm.
Correct.
So,
Interest rates fell. The
Yeah.
30-year Treasury dropped. The 13-week Treasury dropped. So the short end of the market saw interest rates go down. The long end of the market saw interest go down. And the yield curve is still positive. Was a 54, was about a 0.5% yield curve a month ago, and it's still about 0.5% today. So
yeah, but there was that
Not much
long
action.
period where the yield curve was
negative.
negative and was supposed to say a recession, but
Right.
nobody could say the R word.
And it never happened.
Okay, well, and how does this bonds? We heard the chief executive say, hey, we're going to get into 50-year mortgages. Well, how do the bonds affect that?
I would say it would probably cause rates to go up.
A 50-year.
A 50-year.
But that was the result of the problems that we have. I mean,
Right.
It wasn't like, hey, 50-year bond mortgage is a great idea. Don't
Right.
you want to be the first in your neighborhood
Right.
to get your 50-year mortgage?
Supposedly that would cause the mortgage rates to go down, but I think it will have an opposite effect, right?
We shall see.
If we ever see that.
I mean, the 30, like my father was probably, I think it was something like less than 10 years he
Yeah.
paid off his mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
I had a 30-year mortgage, paid it off well before,
Mm-hmm.
but, I'm thinking, 30 years.
Well, in talking about these mortgages, the thing is, well, that will cause monthly payments to go down so that more people can afford housing. I think there was a report out this month that said it's the new home buyers are the oldest they've ever been.
Yes, that I heard too.
And so what I didn't hear, though, because then they say, oh, isn't this terrible, affordability and whatnot? But the other side is always, I think there's always a flip side to it, right? The other side is it possible that the younger generation isn't interested in home ownership as prior generations are?
Why do you think that is?
Oh, well, I think one of the reasons could be they're getting married later and later in life.
And why do you think that's happening?
They probably want more personal freedom.
Do you think economically?
Oh, I think that's a part of it too, but
I mean,
I don't think it's the sole reason, though. I think a lot of people want the personal freedom that those other two items don't give you.
Okay, I know of a person who wants to get a different job.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a job. And you don't need a new job. You need a career.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I think that we're in a situation with, like, what do you say? Look, teachers are being squeezed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things that were careers are not as career as they were.
Well, the whole AI thing is affecting it too, I think, potentially. You know, a lot of these starter-type jobs maybe
Yeah, I've been wondering about
disappearing.
that. What kind of starter like job?
Well, entry-level jobs.
When you say entry, okay, I use AI.
Okay.
How do I use AI? I use it as a faster Wikipedia. Or the Wikipedia, the stuff Wikipedia will give you that you don't want to have to search is too much for. It's efficiency for me. But what are the jobs for young people, or that are being taken away from young people by this surge of AI? What are those jobs?
Well, I think some of them are the sort of the customer service type
Okay.
job.
So you're saying Joe AI can come on, he or she is not going to be chat anymore from the point of, what do you call it, typing it in. Hi, I'm Joe Chat GP.
You're seeing a lot of that.
But they've been doing that for years with just the chat on the, anyway.
Right, but I think it's going to be more and more.
You may be right. I'm not going to say I disagree with you.
And that's going to, you know.
Any other jobs you can see on the chopping block?
Yeah, any type of, you know, scheduling for a doctor's office, bank teller type positions, all those jobs that can be, you know, that don't need a human anymore. I think,
Bank teller in the bank?
yeah, could be.
What, have you seen any of those yet?
I haven't.
I use the little rinky-dink banks.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen it,
It's
but
not a rinky-dink. If you're listening out there, my beloved tellers, I don't mean rinky-dink in the sense of rinky-dink. I mean, you are mature and wonderful people I love. But
they'll be going into the witness protection program.
I know,
right after the show. Be using the drive-through from now on.
I use a small bank because I like that thing.
Yeah.
I'm a rinky-dink guy. They just call me RD for rinky-dink.
Okay.
Anyway, but I hate the thought of that. You know, I still go in there and I see two tellers where I go. Is there any place like at Boston or Worcester?
I'm sure there is. I don't know about Worcester, but I'm sure Boston, New York, Chicago, those areas, you know, California probably is where it'll all start. But I mean, I think, you know, there's a lot of these, you know, manual type entry jobs that could disappear. That's going to hurt, you know, the home buyer, the you know, the first-time home buyer. But you know, a lot of people said, you know, I remember growing up, right? You'd hear a neighbor say, "Oh, you know, your best investment is your house." Then I heard. Now I think the next generation up doesn't look at it that way. Well, I want to be in the city where there's more excitement. Okay, that's more higher cost.
Bump muggings and you know,
Right.
that's excitement. I love that.
Yep, carjackings and whatnot.
Who doesn't like a good car?
Whereas before it was like, get me out of the city. I remember when my parents first bought a house, the reaction was, "You're moving where?" Now it's like, You're moving where? They want to go back into the cities. Those are more expensive. They're delaying getting married. They like the personal freedoms. I think that has a lot to do with it, in addition to the cost. But I think personal freedom and getting married later in life and the buying of a home isn't the be-all that it once was. I think a lot of that has to do with why, home ownership, first-time home ownership is being delayed.
Well, personal freedom, as far as I am concerned, was when I paid off the mortgage.
Yeah.
That was real personal freedom, a real free at last moment.
Yep.
So now you'll be forever hoping to come up with your rent. And I know young people, because family and stuff,
Yeah.
and big city type thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's brutal,
Yeah.
the rent.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we've got through the bonds, and they're not going to really help those mortgage prices get up. All right, technicals, you're on.
Okay. Well, the short-term technical indicators got better, and that's a surprise because the Dow had a pretty good October. Moving average fell, still in fair value range. Volatility went up a little bit, not enough to change short-term sentiment. Oscillator's still pretty high. Worst it can be is 100. It was 94 a month ago. It's 87 now. So it's still considered in the overpriced or overbought area. Fair and greed index coming down a bit. Still in the fair area, which is a good sign. So sort of mixed results. I don't think you can really say with this technical indicator month really anything other than there was a little change, but not enough to change the direction of the market. At least I don't think so.
So it's not going to bring
Big
people
move either way.
rushing into the into the broker.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Fed cuts funds by 25 basis points.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When are they going to do that? The vote was 10-2.
10-2. One wanted it no cut, and the other one wanted it cut 0.5%. The 0.5% individual was the one that President Trump recently nominated.
That's understandable then.
Yep.
0.5% wouldn't. Yeah. Trump wants more cuts.
Cuts, yeah. Yeah.
What do you think? Should we be continuing to cut?
Well, we're reviewing October, so we really don't know anything that's happening in November, even though this is November.
Okay, so never do it a day that
So
we
we
put off till tomorrow.
Right, so when we're talking about October, we can look really smart, because we already know more than half of November. But there have been some, government shutdowns over. There have been some government reports that have been issued that show the economy, in the job market in particular, stronger than expected. So that flipped the odds of a rate cut on December 10th when they meet to now no rate cut. And that then brought out the president again to knock the Federal Reserve, and he had some choice words which we won't repeat on Powell.
He can't go visit Powell now because he's already visited the building where they redid it. He can't do that again.
Yeah. Well, he's busy rebuilding his own, redesigning his own building.
Will Powell be invited to inspect that with him?
Yes.
I think you're not telling the truth here.
No. Well, there was a joke that somebody said that he's knocking down the East Wing there to build a big ballroom. What else is he going to knock down? And somebody said, well, he's not going to knock down the Oval Office because he's put a gold sign on the door that says Oval Office. So that room is safe.
Yeah, a lot of people will scream bloody murder about Trump, and I can kind of understand that, but I wonder if he's every night he goes home and after he's said something that everybody goes wild about and says, boy, I love watching those people go crazy.
You would, yeah, that's a possibility.
Because, I mean, it's such theater.
It is. It is. You know, so the Fed, prior to this November information, said they were concerned about a slowing economy and that the shutdown, they couldn't really gauge how much effect it has. Well, the first reports that have come out after the shutdown show that things are a little stronger than feared. So, you know, there was like a 90% chance of another rate cut in December, and now it's down to 50-50. But there is a pretty good chance they'll cut rates when they meet in January. So I think the overall trend is still lower interest rates. Maybe not as fast as everybody thought maybe a few weeks ago.
Okay.
We always like to dream, and Apple became the third stock to hit $4 trillion in market cap the month of October. And I always like to bring Apple up because when it went public in 1980 at $22 a share, Secretary of State of Massachusetts wouldn't allow Massachusetts investors to buy the stock because they said it was too risky. Well, had you put $2,200 in on the IPO, you'd have $6 million today.
Well, you know, I remember, you really want to shoot yourself. I mean, you know, I remember, when was it, at $5.
Mm-hmm.
Jobs was out, what's his name was famous.
Oh, no, Scully.
Scully.
Yeah.
Or Scully was out and doing something. I just remember $5 and saying, well, you know, I had a couple of thousand to just waste, to do something with,
Mm-hmm.
anything. Should I just put it in the Roth? Or, you know, was Roth then? I forget, but should I just put it in retirement? How do you think I feel today?
Probably the same way I felt, because I wouldn't have been in at $5, but it was at $7, and I mentioned it to a family member at the time, and they asked me, well, are you going to buy any? And I said, oh, no, I'm not going to, but, you know, it's pretty low. And so they did the same thing, didn't do anything with it.
And they hate your guts.
And,
they have not talked to you. I kept my mouth shut. I didn't tell anybody.
They're dealing with some other financial firm at the present time. But, yeah, I always like to bring that up because, you know, Massachusetts wouldn't allow it to be offered to its residents because they felt it was too risky.
And, yes,
Gets better, though, the month of October. NVIDIA became the first $5 trillion market cap stock during October. Went public in 1999 at $12 a share.
another one that...
If you had put $1,200 in the initial public
we
offering,
would be doing, ladies and gentlemen, this show.
of course not.
Not,
We'd be worried
not
about
from Florida, but from, well, you know, space, one of those Blue Horizon or something.
yes, because we'd be worried about what do we do with this $10 million. Yeah. So it's just amazing. All that happened in October.
Oh, well, I mean, so does this mean, well, NVIDIA's chips are
Yep.
used by AI, what's his name, the guy, who's the big AI guy? Altman. Is it Altman?
I think it is, yeah. Altman,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he buys NVIDIA, or supposedly buys NVIDIA chips. But he wants me and you to bail him out, or
Right.
to be there to bail him out. So how steady is this looking, really?
Well, you know, for every Apple and for every NVIDIA, there's, you know, a counter company that doesn't make it, so.
There you go. But, yeah, well, NVIDIA, however, sells chips to all these AI. Is it a bubble or is it not? And does NVIDIA have to worry about that bubble?
Oh,
And does what's his name? Oracle guy. What's his name?
Ellison.
Ellison. Does he have to? I mean, he's asking for
Yeah, I
help.
mean, you know, this all goes back to the AI story and how's it all going to end? We don't know. But NVIDIA was an interesting one because a long time ago, I can't remember. It's probably 10 or 12 years ago. Somebody said to me, a customer in Framingham said to me, you know, he says, I want to buy some of this NVIDIA stock, and I said, oh yeah, okay, we can do that. He said, you know, you should buy some yourself. I said, and he was in the field, and he said, oh no, he said, Mike, you don't understand. This is going to be revolutionary. How many times have you heard that?
Yes, I know.
To say the least, he has $3 million worth of NVIDIA stock today. I have none.
How much was each share, do you think? Yes, just guess.
I know he put 50,000 in, so, and now he's got just a shade under 3 million. But again, you know, I say this, we've said this before, the Apples, the Microsofts, the NVIDIAs. If you don't understand the technology, and I don't, so you can't, when somebody says, oh, this is, how many times have you heard somebody, oh, this is revolutionary? Oh no, Mike, you don't understand, this is going to change the world. Yeah, okay, how many times have you heard that? But if you understood the technology.
If you understood
Right.
the technology. How many people who actually do understand it have gotten burnt on some things?
Oh,
like
sure.
In the 90s and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
oh definitely. Definitely. And that's the
Okay. There's a
the gist of it.
one of the several mottos we have on this floor, in this show is, not everything's a magic bullet. You can write that down. You don't even have to attribute it to us. Well, Mike might want you to attribute it to him.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take it. Interest rates have been cut in Canada and New Zealand.
Who freaking cares? It's Turkey, I want to know. They
Nothing.
were always on the board for
Nothing.
years.
They've gone
now.
quiet.
Yeah.
A lot of Turkey is hiding right now.
Oh, yeah, not just countries.
Correct.
I mean,
Correct. European Central Bank didn't do anything. Oil has fallen to the mid 60s. It had gone up to the high 60s, but production is at an all-time high. And we had the anniversary of the crash of '87. It was the 38th anniversary of the crash of '87.
and you know, the Dow wasn't even that high
Nope.
at that time.
Nope.
I mean, a percentage crash today would have everybody tearing their hair out.
Yeah. I mean, that day it dropped 23%. And the Dow finished at 1,700 roughly. You know, it took 2 years to recover, but it did recover. And since the crash date of '87, the Dow has averaged 9.1% a year. So it's still a pretty good place long term.
Well, it's you know, we run around on the inflation question, but it's about the only place where you get some relief from
Yeah.
inflation.
Right, right. And finally, in October, we had the World Series. And not really what we wanted to see happen. We wanted to see
Those Canucks.
Toronto win, but didn't happen. Dodgers won and the Blue Jays lost. So that forecasts a 7% rise for the Dow. And based on that, the Dow hit 50,000 sometime next year.
Is that real?
Half of it is. Half of it is.
That's the only thing.
far
That's
as
the only
inflation.
chance you got, I guess.
They finally released inflation because they had to do it. They had to do it to be able to get the cost of living increase for
Well, yeah,
retirees.
that was, of course, if you're Trump, that was the Democrats' fault.
Correct.
And if you're the Democrats, we were being held hostage.
Correct.
And who cares? I mean, I knew it was all phony. It was supposed to be a shutdown. Ha!
Yeah.
They still take the money
still
out of
took
your
the
pay.
money out of the pay.
Who's kidding whom?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, okay, CPI. So we can get the cost of living
Yeah.
adjustment.
And everything else was not reported because they weren't working.
Yeah. So, no report due to shutdown. Jobless claims, no report due to shutdown.
Yeah. And the employment report, same
report.
thing.
So the consumer price index did rise.
Did increase. It was up 0.3%, which is above the
The target of 2%.
2%. And,
Which is not real.
No, the 2026 cost of living increase is going to be 2.8% next year.
Which is also,
Not realistic, right? Because we know prices have gone up more than 3% on most items that we buy.
so we have one more. We're going to be going to Thanksgiving dinner in a few days.
Mm-hmm.
How are turkey sales?
Prices are all over the place,
Yeah.
right? You can get them as low as I've seen 49 cents a pound, all the way up to, if you want it just killed,
Just kidding.
$3 a pound or so.
Oh, yeah.
So it all depends on what you want.
Well, they had this thing out a little while ago of get your Target, you can get your dinner. At Walmart, you get everything for your dinner. At someplace else, who thinks like that?
I don't know, but some people must.
I guess.
Yeah. You just drive up and here's your package. Serves 8 to 10. That's it.
I can't.
I don't get it, but
What a country.
only in America.
Only in a. Are you sure?
You write that down.
Right there. Are you sure?
Don't substitute USA. It's got to say only in America.
They wouldn't do that in Canada?
No.
Well, all right. Well, we're going to see how reality is in the next month, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving, and we hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. This has been Mike Carnevale, Richard Morco, the Long Hill Report, Conversations with. See you in December.